Good evening. This is the Owen James Report. Grace Kennedy's chairman Douglas Owen has identified three major constraints which have stymied Jamaica's development over the years and which, if overcome, could propel the island into developed nation status. Speaking at a recent lecture in New York on the key to prosperity in Jamaica, Mr. Owen identified the deterrents as what he described as our love affair with political populism, the deficiency in our human capital development, and a very high crime rate, which he identified as some of the main obstacles to true development and main reasons for the island's indebtedness. Mr. Owen was particularly critical of populist policies, which he described as economically unsustainable.
Sadly, this has led over the decades to budget deficits becoming the norm. In our 50 years of independence, there have only been 6 years that we have run a government budget surplus. Would your immediate family behave in this way? Let me ask you that. Would you run losses indefinitely for nearly 90% of the years your family functions? Could it continue if it started down that path? The direct consequence of this pernicious political competition has been to saddle us and our children with one of the highest debt to GDP ratios in the world, at over 130%. Each man, woman, and child in Jamaica owes the equivalent of Jamaican $600,000 or US $6,700 approximately as government debt.
News on the market now, and falls by Lime, D&G and NCB helped to trigger moderate losses in the Jamaican stock market indices today. The main JC index slipped 48 points or 0.05%. 21 stocks traded, with 6 advancing, 8 declining, and 7 holding firm. The winners included General Accident, Grace Kennedy, Jamaica Broilers, Mayberry, Scotia Group, and Seprod. The losers included D&G, Kingston Wharves, Lasco Financial Services, Lasco Manufacturing, Lime, and NCB. The Jamaican dollar had mixed fortunes today, holding firm against the benchmark American dollar, strengthening against the Canadian dollar, but weakening against the British pound, which climbed to a record high against the Jamaican currency. Here are the actual numbers. The greenback held firm at $91.69 Jamaican. However, the Canadian dollar lost 39 cents Jamaican to close at an average selling rate of $92.06. Sterling advanced by 36 cents Jamaican to close at a new 2012 high of $147.90. Now, finally, on the international scene, stocks globally fell, with investors cautious over whether Greece will receive emergency aid to keep it financially afloat, and no signs of proposals by American lawmakers to avoid the so-called fiscal cliff. This refers to the fact that without agreement by Congress and the White House, sharp tax increases and government spending cuts will take effect in 2013, raising the specter of stifling the U.S. economy and pushing stock prices much lower. Today, the Dow fell by almost 78 points or 60 basis points. The S&P index declined by 7.14, and the Nasdaq index went down 0.01. And that's the Owen James Report. Good evening.